And now we would like to say welcome Mr. Preben Birr-Pedersen, who is director from the House of Energy in Denmark. And he will tell us some aspects of the energy situation related to renewable energy technologies and energy efficiency. Please, Preben Birr-Pedersen.
Thank you very much. I'll try to share my screen. And we are up and running. Yes. First of all, also I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me to give a presentation here on the energy situation related to renewable energy technologies and energy efficiency. So I'll take a system perspective, as Peter Hauger also touched upon. First of all, my name is Preben Birr. I'm the CEO of House of Energy. We are right now currently in a merger with a couple of other clusters, and we'll turn into Energy Cluster Denmark. So we'll be one energy cluster in Denmark. We act as a single point of energy competences and resources in Denmark. We have close cooperation between different energy fields, so covering the whole energy sector, not just wind energy. It's the triple helix organization we have, where we have academia, business, and the civil society, public sector. It's a member-based association. So you could see us as an NGO, and companies and universities and utilities are members, and companies are generally involved in clusters. Studies have shown that they are 4 times more innovative and also 4% more efficient. And last but not least, they're also more prone to be involved in international activities like this international conference that we are participating in here together. Our cluster is addressing the societal challenge to make the energy transition towards 100% renewable energy in the energy system. So it's not the goal of our cluster to reach this. This is a mean towards the goal of having more innovative companies making better business. And it is a better business to focus your business on the future. And the 100% renewable energy is in the whole energy system. So both in the electricity system, the heating and cooling sector, the gas sector, and in the transport sector. And to solve that, there's no silver bullet. We need a multi-tool, have the complex challenges needs or requires more than just a hammer. So if you run around with a hammer, all you see is a nail, but you need to see the complexity of the system and to address that with more than just one tool. And the 100% of 50 is obviously less than 100% of 100. And last Friday, a number of ministers and other high-level actors from around the world gathered around a virtual roundtable to discuss how renewable energy and energy efficiency can play a key role in the global economic recovery. It's very encouraging to hear from governments to reaffirm their commitments to support renewables and energy efficiency despite the current crisis. Also what you heard Anne Pauline addressing earlier today. And from the press release from this roundtable meeting, they said that renewable energy and energy efficiency are both cornerstones in our fight against climate change. And at the same time, both sectors have massive jobs potential. And one of the barriers to to achieve both the 100% renewable energy goal, but also more jobs and more business in the green energy sector, is access to qualified people. I'll talk more about that tomorrow. But the outcome of the meeting last week was also that the energy efficiency has the potential to contribute about 45 to 50% of the CO2 challenge that we are facing. And that's also in line with what we heard Anne-Pauline saying earlier today. So it's not either renewable energy or energy efficiency. We need both. And to tie in renewable energy production to energy consumption, we need energy infrastructure and energy storage. So with an energy system with 100% renewable energy, a lot of that energy production comes then from fluctuating energy sources, meaning we need energy storage to have it in balance with the consumption. And we need a robust energy infrastructure, but also possibility to go between the various energy domains. So sector coupling is of paramount importance here. And so small and medium wind energy can be part of the solution, or it can be part of the problem for the infrastructure, depending on how it is integrated into the system. So the planning on where to set up new renewable energy sources, of course, more important if it's a large-scale wind farm with 500 megawatt or more, but also when it's a small and medium-sized wind energy. The planning part of how to integrate it into the infrastructure is important, and also the quality of energy that you deliver from them. And to do that, cooperation between renewable energy infrastructure, energy storage, and energy efficiency with focus on integrated energy systems and digitalization is of utmost importance. So when you develop new micro, small, medium-sized energy production facilities, always have the bigger picture in mind, and seek early in the development cooperation among the value chain. We had earlier on also a discussion on permits for these plants, and also, as Peter Hauge addressed, the social acceptance. Early involvement of the society and the infrastructure owner can make the process easier. But from you design new turbines until it's connected to the grid, it's also a good idea to have the roadmap ahead of you for the whole energy systems. So where you think also, how can this contribute into 100% renewable energy system, which is in balance 50 times a minute. So as long as you produce electricity from your renewable energy source, it is a commodity that has last sale stamp on with a very short time. So from the beginning on, think how can it be integrated into the energy system, and think not just the electricity system, but the whole energy system here. And also think about what kind of competences do you actually need Peter Hauge talked about the 50% of the qualified people into the energy sector were engineers, but we need not just engineers, we need all kinds of technicians, but also people with social science skills, and not the least business skills. So many new technologies might have great minds behind them, but if they are all alike and very much technical focused, then they might never make it into realization because there needs to be a business case behind it. So the value chain has to be something that you can align into your business case. And when developing new technologies, if you're part of a cluster, well, in Denmark, it would be Energy Cluster Denmark, but we cooperate with energy clusters around, well, mostly in Europe, but we also have sister clusters around the world. Some of them are very dedicated to wind energy, like Renewable Energy, Hansestadt Hamburg. Others are like us, the full energy system. But I will encourage you to look into what possibilities do you have to join a cluster if you're not already participant, member of a cluster in your country of origin. And with these words, I will open up for questions.
Thank you very much, Preben Birr-Pedersen. It was really interesting telling what you are doing and how you're performing, and also about your international relationships. I found them very interesting because this international cooperation is very important, and therefore also we see from these conferences or webinars we are doing that the interest is growing increasingly for the webinars.
And I could add that Nordic Folkecenter is a strategic partner in the energy cluster, and we are supporting the test center for small and medium-sized wind energy, where also DTU and Peter Hauge is participating in the steering committee.
Yes, thank you, and we are very happy that you're doing, both you and the DTU. You are doing a good job for the test center, and we are happy about that. I would like to ask if there are any further questions. Otherwise, we would like to continue with Dr. Dörde Fouquet.
I have a question.
Oh, you have a question? Then it'll be a short one, please.
Yeah, it's a short one. Why do you think small wind turbines might be a problem for the infrastructure? Thank you.
Well, depending on how it's connected into the grid, it's not a problem that is something that you cannot address early on. But if it's connected and the quality of the energy that you deliver into the grid, you need to adhere to the grid codes, of course. But it's more if it's fed into the grid in areas where there's a lack of production, then it'll be a part of the solution. But if it's fed into the grid where there is a surplus of energy already and not much consumption, then it can contribute to stressing the grid more. It's the same with the electric vehicles. So they can really damage the grid, but intelligently they can also assist the grid. It's only a way of saying that planning is important here in where you connect it and how you connect it.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm actually, this is my personal view and not that of my organization. I would like to see a lot more small wind also in Denmark. But if you see what is the cost of a kilowatt hour delivered from a small wind turbine compared to a big wind turbine, well, then the small wind turbine does not come out in favor. But there are simply areas where there is no possibility to set up a big wind park, where you can have a small wind turbine put in. So the alternative is not to have, and there it can also raise awareness of, like when you have solar on villas, it's not the most economic sound solution, but it has other benefits.
I agree about the costs. And I think it's even the biggest problem in small wind power. But I think the load on the infrastructure or onto the grid is up to now marginal, and
yeah.
I cannot see for the next future that this will be a change. Okay, thank you.
That could also add to the point that Peter Hauge had before on the focus on large-scale wind energy has for a long time been on cost of energy, levelized cost of energy, and reducing the cost. Now, to a large extent, the focus has changed into increasing the value of the energy produced from the big wind farms. But we still need to have the cost of small scale down as well, and innovation can help there.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Pardon? Oh, there's another question from Brooks Breen. Please go on, Brooke.
Yeah, I just have a comment to this idea that the small wind might pose problems for the grid, particularly when it's feeding into an area that's already overloaded with power. And I would challenge this thinking a little bit in that, what if we had the electronics that allowed easy bidirectional flow to and from the wind turbine, and we could actually have the ability to run the wind turbines as a fan of sorts to help compensate with momentary overloads. This, of course, this would not be a large effect that we're talking about, but if the wind turbine is large enough to pose a problem, maybe it's also large enough to pose a little bit of a solution. And that's my comments.
And that's actually a very good idea to, but again, that requires that you have an innovation project where you actually test it out. And my point is that you need to have these thoughts to make sure that they contribute to the grid's stability. And it's not that it is not possible to overcome them, but you need to address it, maybe with the ideas like you have here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that this discussion we maybe can continue after the next speech.